What's up, guys? Rosy the Rascal 15 here with a movie review for one of my favorite sci-fi action horror classics. I'm going to be talking about the 1986 classic Aliens, directed by James Cameron, and I have a DVD here. Look at that old school DVD. Look at that. Do you kids even know what DVDs are nowadays? Everybody's just streaming movies, and no one really buys physical media anymore because A, it's expensive, and pandemic has really made prices of physical material cost a lot. And does anyone really buy movies anymore? I'm the only idiot. I still go to the pawn shop and buy DVDs because they're always $1, and I don't know. It's just, I don't care if it's in potato quality. Guys, I'm talking about Aliens. Okay, so if you guys can see here, I'm going to be talking about the 1986 classic Aliens. And yes, I actually got this as a gift. My parents bought me this for my birthday way back in the day. It's the collection of the 3 Alien movies. So, you get a good movie, a great classic sequel to that great movie, and then you get a good coaster with it. I'm not a fan of Alien 3, as you can tell. So I'm going to be talking about the 1986 classic, James Cameron's Aliens. For those who don't know, I've been meaning to get to this movie review for a while. Unfortunately, I don't have any excuses. I just procrastinated. Actually, I'm doing it in this room because this is ironically the room where I reviewed my first Alien movie 3 years ago. This is actually my parents' room, so yeah, don't judge. But yeah, I decided to do it in this room because that's where I did my first Alien review 3 years ago. I'll put a link down in the description if you want to know my thoughts on the first Alien movie. But just to sum it up, I love the first Alien. It's one of the most influential sci-fi horror movies ever made. It's a freaking classic. I'm sure everybody knows by now the first Alien is amazing. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Go out and watch it. It's up there with movies like the original Jaws, the original Psycho, and the original Halloween. It's a classic, guys. It's a classic. The first Alien is how you do a old school survival horror. Well, it actually had a survival horror game based on an Alien Isolation. That game's really good, by the way. This game, yeah, Alien Isolation, it's pretty damn good. Hope we get a sequel to it one day. But since Disney bought the rights to Fox, I don't see that happening. That was a pretty damn good game. Anyways, but let's talk about the 1986 classic Aliens, directed by James Cameron. I have no idea how to even begin to talk about this movie that hasn't been said. Everybody pretty much loves this movie. I think most people genuinely will actually love this movie more than the original. I'm actually somebody that still likes the original just slightly more. The second movie is by no means an inferior sequel. In fact, I would go as far as saying it's just as good as the original. In some ways, it's even better than the original. The second Alien movie in the franchise, which is just called Aliens, which is kind of funny because James Cameron pitched the movie at Fox by just taking the name Alien, writing an S, and then putting a $sign, and that's how he came up with the title for, that was his pitch for making a sequel. Now, for those who don't know, James Cameron, obviously you probably know that director. In fact, he's pretty much on the news right now. He's the one that's going to direct the new Avatar sequel. Yes, can't wait for the new Avatar movie. It came out 13 years later, but better late than never. But yeah, I'm someone that actually loves James Cameron's movies. I was a big fan of, the original Terminator. I love Terminator 2, The Abyss, Titanic, True Lies, which I think is an underrated movie of his. Hopefully one day we get that on Blu-ray. Same thing with The Abyss. Anyways, let's just talk about the movie. I'm already 4 minutes in. I haven't even talked about the movie Aliens. Well, what's the story of Aliens? Well, if you remember, and this will be spoilers, by the way. I'm going to get into spoilers, and if you haven't seen the first movie, go out and watch it. It's amazing. Because literally the second movie starts off with already spoiling what happens. You'll know who survived at the end of the first movie, and you'll know what happened at the end of the first movie. Obviously, that's what happens when you jump into a sequel. Anyways, the story to Aliens is that Sigourney Weaver, a.k.a. Ellen Ripley, she comes back in the sequel. It's actually 57 years later. She ended up going into cryosleep because she was going to wait to get back to Earth. Unfortunately, her ship rerouted, and I think it ended up malfunctioning because I think people have said a theory saying that the android on the ship, Ash, from the first movie, might have messed up the coordinates, or it had something to do with the explosion. There's a lot of theories about that, but I'm not here to give theories. I'm just here to tell you the synopsis of the story. Anyways, Ripley wakes up 57 years later, even though it was supposed to be, I believe, 6 weeks she was supposed to wake up. She's in for a shock, and she finds out that not only is it 57 years later, but that colonists ended up going to the planet where they discovered the aliens in the first movie, which I believe was called, I think it was called, I'm trying to remember, damn it, I should have wrote some notes down. But basically they go visit the planet from the first movie, some colonists, this corporation called the Weyland-Yutani Corporation decides to build homes there. Like, they decide to make it just make it a civilization. They're going to build homes there, build jobs for people, and unfortunately, it goes haywire because unfortunately they didn't account for the fact they didn't do the research and found out there were aliens in that planet. There were a bunch of alien eggs off of the, if you've seen the first movie, that same ship that the crew discovered, they find out, hey, you know what? A family got curious, went to go check it out, and they ended up getting attacked by the facehuggers, which are those little things that latch on people's faces. And it's up to Ripley to team up with the Colonial Marines because the Colonial Marines want to go there so they can destroy the bugs. Because, that's what they are. They're soldiers. They go out there if they need to protect people from, dangerous bugs that bleed acid. When I explain the story, it sounds like it's a really stupid movie. But actually, Aliens is a really smart film. Don't let the synopsis of me explaining it sound like, oh, it's just a typical action movie. Just some bugs being killed by a bunch of soldiers. I probably played a bunch of video games like that. In fact, video games like Contra probably pay a lot of homage to that movie. Or even Metroid with Samus. It was very much a reference to the Alien franchise because Samus from the Metroid series is supposed to be a female lead against these aliens and on a ship. Very much like this movie franchise, having a main female lead and a female lead destroying these aliens. Great movie, great video game series if you never played the Metroid series. Really like the new one that just came out, Metroid Dread. I think that the story, for as simple as it is, actually expands upon the lore of the first Alien. We get to see how the world is in the Alien universe. We get to see how there's people living on different planets. We get to see how the corporation is. We get to see more or less Ripley's character develop more. We get to see that she's suffering from PTSD from the last movie. All the characters are well written in this movie, even the side characters, even the Colonial Marines themselves are memorable. My personal favorite is probably Hicks, which is played by Michael Biehn, which I love this actor. He's criminally underrated. He's played Kyle Reese in the Terminator movie. I like him a lot as Johnny Ringo in the movie Tombstone. Anybody ever seen that movie? It's a fantastic movie. And he actually, for those of my, new fans, any of my Gen Z fans out there, you might recognize Michael Biehn. If you've seen The Mandalorian Season 2, he was actually featured in an episode of The Mandalorian Season 2. So, yeah, he's still acting to this day. Wonderful actor. Very underrated. I really like him as Kyle Reese in Terminator. Can't stress that enough. I really wish we got to see more of him play that character. Too bad he, spoilers for Terminator, he dies. He dies in a lot of movies. And my second favorite character, honestly, in the movie would have to be... Actually, not just... you guys think I'm going to talk about Ripley as my favorite character, but actually, my other second favorite character is the android Bishop. I really like Bishop because, for those who don't know, Bishop is supposed to be an android that's supposed to be in the movie as like assistance for the Colonial Marines. And unfortunately, Ripley in the last movie doesn't have any... she doesn't trust the android Bishop because if you've seen the first movie, you do remember... Ash, which was an android, which you find out that was a twist in the first movie, almost killed Ripley and her whole crew. That Ash android basically protected the alien the entire movie, so it makes sense for her to act very hostile towards Bishop. Even though Bishop, in the movie, you are kind of suspicious of him, he's actually a nice android. By the end of the movie, you find out, no, the dude was actually a nice android, and it really kind of shows you that not all the androids are evil in the Alien universe. So it's nice to see that, and I love Lance Henriksen. This guy is awesome. I love his voice, and he's wonderful in this movie. And unfortunately, this won't be the last time you see him in this series. He will come back. He will come back in later installments, but it was more for fan service, if anything. Anyways, those are really some of my favorite characters, but honestly, everybody's great in this movie, okay? You have wonderful, wonderful side characters. The little girl, Newt, she's great. She's not the typical kid character that's always like, screaming and, oh my god, go save her. She's kind of like that in some situations, but for the most part, she's a very smart character. And actually, it's crazy to think that little girl, I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the actress, but I'll put it down in the video here. But yeah, she actually became a teacher in real life, which is kind of cool. She only did this one movie, and then yeah, so that's kind of cool to see that, you know, she did a great job, and it's kind of cool to see that, like, you know, hey, some kid actors, they don't become, you know, they don't stick with doing entertainment. I mean, it happens. It's like with some of my voice actors out there. I mean, I've worked with some younger voice actors, and they just don't pursue that career because they want to do other things. Hopefully, y'all can understand that. Same thing with this. Like, it's a kid. It's a kid. The kid's not going to become an actor or an actress. You never know. They just want to just have a normal day-to-day job. It's totally relatable. I respect the hell out of her for that. Anyways, I'm not here to talk about the politics of this movie. But yeah, I mean, I'm going on and on. I love that we get to see more of the aliens. You know, it's not just one like in the first one, hence the title. There's multiple aliens. You get to see how they infected the entire area. It's very intense. There's a lot of action. You get to see all these cool special effects. The ships are great. I love the designs of the spaceships of the Colonial Marines. I love how they show how the Colonial Marines are very, like, in a way, very cocky in the beginning of the movie. And then by the middle of the movie, when they actually get to see the xenomorphs and get to fight them, they get their asses kicked. In fact, it's so funny to see how in the beginning of the movie, this character here, Hicks, played by Bill Paxton. Rest in peace, Bill Paxton. I miss you.
What is it, Hicks? Hudson, sir. He's Hicks.
Bill Paxton is fucking hilarious in this movie. He has some of the best dialogue in the entire movie. He acts like a big macho dude, like just acting like this complete, you know, like badass. He's like very much just boastful about his, you know, just badassery. That's even a word. And then by the time they fight the aliens, he's being a big crybaby. By the end of the movie, he's just crying about he wants to go home and that he doesn't want to fight these monsters anymore and that he's scared for his life. It's funny as hell, and it says a lot about the characters because the characters go through a great development in the movie where we get to see them, just like James Cameron did in Terminator 2, another great sequel that he made. We get to see characters go from being this to this. For example, Ripley goes from being this scared, traumatized, you know, worker from the first movie to this badass, gun-wielding female lead that ends up protecting Newt and ends up fighting the aliens by the end of the movie. She ends up fighting all the aliens by the end of the movie. It's amazing. She's one of the best female protagonists in any films I've seen. I'm serious. Even to this day, I still think a lot of, you know, a lot of females out there would probably look up to Ripley, especially the fact that she's a mom character, because that's the thing. I really like the fact that Ripley's actually a mom. It says a lot about what we can do for female characters in action movies. Female action heroes don't always have to be, oh, I hate guys and I want to beat up everyone. No, she's just a mom that's trying to protect this child that because she lost her child because 57 years later she found out her child died of old age. It's depressing as shit, and it makes you realize Ripley is actually a really good character. I can't stress enough how much I love this movie, everyone. If you haven't seen it, go out and watch it. Get it on Blu-ray. Sadly, it doesn't have a 4K release, but yes, go out and buy this movie. If you have not seen Aliens, you're missing out. It's very well made. It is a long movie, especially if you're watching the extended cut. It's like 2.5 hours. It's worth it, in my opinion. It's one of those long movies that you don't mind the wait because it's just so well written and it's well directed. James Cameron made a really good follow-up to that first one. And even though it's made with a real small budget, and I say small budget for action because the movie was made with $18.5 million. Now, I know what you're saying. That's still a lot of money, but keep in mind, that was 1986. I mean, $18 million to make an action movie back then. It's not really a big budget, especially nowadays. You're going to make an action movie for that. And you're going to make a sci-fi epic action sequel. It's amazing what James Cameron accomplished with just a small budget. Great suspense, great characters. I don't think I have a single complaint for this movie. If anything, I guess my only small nitpick is that it may not be as scary as the first movie, but I would compare it to like how, I'm going to use a video game reference here. I would compare it to like how if Alien is the original Resident Evil, and then Aliens is like Resident Evil 4. Why that sequel of Resident Evil? Because it added action, but it didn't lose any of the quality, and it's still intense. just like that first one. It may not be as scary and atmospheric as that first one. Excuse me, I shouldn't say atmospheric because Aliens is atmospheric. It may not be as scary or as claustrophobic, excuse me, as that original. But I think the sequel is more intense and a lot more frantic. So in a weird way, it's just as scary. It's scarier in a more different way. It's just scary because it's intense. The amount of aliens swarming all these colonial marines, the fact they're trapped on that, they're trapped in that area where all the colonists were staying on that planet where the aliens were, from. It's just a great movie. I know I sound like a broken record when I can't stress enough, go out and watch it. Sigourney Weaver is great in this movie. Again, she got nominated for an Oscar for this movie. Can you believe that? Sigourney Weaver got nominated for an Oscar for a movie about killing bugs with machine guns and explosions. Probably wouldn't happen today. I love this movie, everyone. I can't stress enough. Go out and watch it. I recommend it. If you're going to watch a good movie for this Halloween, because October is right around the corner, I would say watch the first two Aliens. They're really good. And if you're wondering what my thoughts are on the rest of the sequels, I really didn't like them. I think Alien 3 was a very much a disappointing sequel that didn't really add anything to the story. It has a few good moments, but it's just a very unnecessary sequel. And the fourth one's a comedy. Fourth one, Alien Resurrection, that's a comedy. Both Alien vs. Predator movies, I think, if you turn your brain off and watch them as dumb action movies, they can work, but they're not great movies. I'll be realistic with you. Alien vs. Predator, both of them, they feel like fan fiction movies. In fact, that's what they feel like. They feel like fan films. And my thoughts on Prometheus and Alien Covenant, they're okay. They're okay. They're just okay for me. They grew on me. Back then I used to hate Alien Covenant and I used to hate Prometheus. They kind of grew on me a little bit. I get they're trying to be more deeper with the themes that Ridley Scott tried to put in those movies, but I didn't love Alien Covenant. I didn't like Prometheus. Honestly, I just miss when the Alien series was just about people trying to survive these bugs. Just like a really good haunted house movie. But it's smarter than that because there's good characters, there's good writing, there's good suspense, and there's really good cinematography and really damn good special effects. Alright, everyone. This has been your boy, Rosy the Rascal 15. I'm going to give Aliens a 9.5 out of 10. Pretty much a near perfect movie. Again, the only 0.5 I remove is because it may not be as scary as that first one, and more or less you know what the aliens are capable of. They don't do anything new other than you get to see that they have a queen and you get to see how their hive works, but it doesn't really, you know what the alien is. If you've seen the first one, the alien doesn't really change too much in this, so I guess it's more of I'm really looking for shit to complain about if I'm just saying that. It's just more nitpicks. But again, a phenomenal movie. Great characters. I can't stress that enough. Go out and see Aliens. This has been your boy, Rosy the Rascal 15. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully you all enjoyed my movie review. Hopefully you all enjoyed this recommendation. And with that being said, I really hope Disney makes another good Alien movie because now they're owned by Disney, and I'm afraid that, we may not get another Alien movie that's going to be good. But hey, we did get another Predator movie this year by Disney called Prey, and it was pretty damn good. Take care. And Xenomorphs, man. They scary.